So I'm really excited to have here today a key vendor. One of the challenges of probate, in general, probate skews lower income. And there's a lot of reasons why. One is people who plan in advance will get living trusts many times, avoid probate for a lot of reasons. But oftentimes the only asset is the house, and maybe the heirs don't have any other savings or any other money. And so they have a house or two or three, but no cash. And without that cash, they don't have the money to pay for the expenses of the property, which could be a mortgage or property taxes or insurance, maintenance of the property, utilities, or maybe don't have money for legal fees to get an attorney to help them through the probate process, or maybe even more sophisticated legal fees, something for like evicting a tenant that might be a problem, or settling disputes with other heirs. And so one of the solutions we have as real estate professionals and probate professionals is to help them get some money. Sometimes it's selling assets, but many times there's equity in the property that can be unlocked, or equity in other assets can be unlocked with a company that will advance the heirs part of the inheritance before they actually get the money. And so one of the companies I've used with, or some of the contacts I've used, Paul Wilkins, I met him, I believe originally in the courthouse. He's written a book on the subject of probate. He's an expert. I've seen him at probate property auctions and such. So I know he's got a full vision of the marketplace. So Paul, welcome to our call. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Bill. I appreciate it.
So just for starters, I blanked on your company name because I know you personally. The company that you're involved with is?
Approved Inheritance Cash, and we're located in Pasadena, California.
Okay, Approved Inheritance Cash. And so how did you get into the business of approved inheritances?
Actually, kind of a sad story, but back in 1996, I had been working for a couple of commercial banks and got laid off. And I saw an ad in the LA Times. It was a blind ad. And I got called in. The company was National Consumer Finance, which was in West LA at the time, ultimately merged with Budget Finance. And since 1996 to the present, I've been involved one way or another in doing probate advances, administrator loans, and so forth. It's been a good ride, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Fantastic. So describe what's the most common product or most common situation that you get involved with?
Typically, somebody needs money to move. The estate's selling the property, and for whatever reason, the heir who's living there, or heirs, plural, don't have the funds to move. So probably the number one reason we advance money to people is to help them relocate.
So mom and dad had a property, son's been living in it for 10, 15, 20 years, needs money for deposit, first and last month's rent maybe, moving help or whatever that looks like. What's the most common dollar amount that you see as an initial advance?
Our average transaction is probably about $10,000. So it's not a large amount, but fortunately for you and I and most of the listeners, that's probably not a significant burden, but for, like you said, the socioeconomic demographic that we deal with, that can be substantial, right, if unattainable, and that's where we come into play.
And it might be not the estate in total, but one of the heirs needs the money. And so it's a way that they can get their cash on their own. They're entitled to it because they're going to be an heir, but they need some of it ahead of time. So it's just a way to make the process move a little more smoothly, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.